everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Creatives Podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Simone Campbell.
And I am your other co-host, Tevin Brown.
And today we have on filmmaker, producer, general creative extraordinaire, videographer, photographer, Ryan Rocha. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me. I love the platform.
Fantastic. Yeah, so happy to give it to you. So we were just talking right before we started filming about your fraught relationship with the industry. There's some drama, some breakups, some therapy that happened. So tell us a little bit about your origin.
You summed it up right there. I came from San Antonio, Texas, film school, Santa Fe University of Art and Design, dropped out and started working in the industry as a PA in the locations department. And if you ever know what the locations department does, they clean bathrooms. So that was my first task job for cleaning bathrooms. But you clean a bathroom, you can run a location.
Yeah.
Just kidding, as long as you clean it right. But no, but on a serious level, I cut my teeth, really learning the industry, all departments, rigging,
Yeah.
I mean, from, start to finish, and tried to work my way up to manager, which I did. But it was like once I got there, a few projects in, I was like, I don't know if this is for me. Mm-hmm. Of course, moving, on and of course there's a slowdown, but just moving on, it realized, because it's such high anxiety, stressful. I was like, I felt like I needed to be in that. Like I felt like if I'm not working, why do I feel like I'm rushed? So it was just kind of a little bit of trauma,
Yeah.
And making it to the manager position, I realized I didn't really build a solid community team. I made a lot of friends, coworkers, great, and I work with a lot of greats, especially here in Albuquerque and New Mexico. But I just didn't build my own team, and I was alone at the top kind of thing, and it was just like, it's like, is it me? Am I the problem, just being the angry person on set, So we broke up,
Yep.
And it was like, what do I do now? 7 years of this. It's like, what do I do? Of course, I had, some construction and set deck to kind of fall back on, from friends and stuff like that. But it started slowing down at that point. Of course, COVID, but the slowdown is real. And it's just like, do I want to fight it anymore? So it's just like, what do I do? Start a company. I went to film school. Well, it's like kind of going back to your roots. What did I do? At the beginning, and why did I get into this to create? So I started my company last year in May. Took on a life coach. Which also dating. It was a dating coach. I'm not gonna lie. I was wondering why am I bad at choosing partners. Dated a lot of great women, not to say anything bad about them. It comes back to accountability and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
But he kind of showed me a funnel system for dating, and I was like, I can use this in business as well, because it was a business kind of model, and that's where I kind of saw how I can help people, clients, and businesses and stuff like that, but also be able to film and find a creative outlet but it's also it's a producer role. So it's just like, but I did locations for a very long time. I was like, I learned a lot here. How can I go and, risk and take risk and basically fail forward, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Running a business,
Yeah.
But that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I'm just like learning as I go, but trusting in myself, having more self-respect, which I didn't have much of it. So there's a lot of trauma I had to unravel. Therapy, that helped a lot, just because of this like go for like years and committing your life to one industry. It's just, it kind of takes a toll on you, especially afterward. And it's not for everybody. But I would say the best thing I could say is that I learned a lot and met a lot of amazing people, projects that it's like, I can tell this story to my grandchildren. So especially because I met someone really cool recently. So but so that's kind of all, a short amount of time where my journey's brought me to here.
The Spark Notes.
Those Spark Notes, it's a cheat sheet. So
No, I love it though, and definitely relate to the breakup and kind of like that moment of like sadness where it's you kind of like make it to the spot that you've been like waiting for so long, and then it's not everything that not everything you anticipated it to be, and then it's like it becomes what's next type of thing. And I love how you pivoted and like found what that next avenue is with so it's pronounced Sinoir?
Simone,
Media?
yes.
Okay,
yes.
Sinoir Media. How did you come up with the name?
Cinema and noir, you know.
Okay.
I love cinema. I love noir, the genre.
Yeah.
And I think CIN was taken, so I was just like, SIN? I don't know, just playing around with it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that'll really confuse people. And it's like, hey, I like your company, Sinoir. So I got,
like,
you know,
thank you,
Spanish.
yes.
Yeah, the Spanish community is like, it probably resonates well. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
No, but it's memorable, right? Keeping it
Yes.
stuck in the mind.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool if you can, if you have to have a conversation about it, then it's like, oh, we opened the door, you know. So just being, I don't know, looking at it from that standpoint.
Yeah. Speak more on that. Opening the door. What does that mean?
Oh, opening the door. As a business owner, like I said, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm learning by surrounding myself with people that know what they're doing, that have also kind of been through that experience, and it feels like doors are opening as far as knowledge, you know, and network. It kind of goes back to like bridging the gap between like, you know, helping your immediate community around you, helping people, and they help you, you know, and even if they don't really help you, but like just that energy, giving back, and building a better network and community. I think that's opens the door to the conversation, to people wanting to listen to you, and of course, you know, trusting yourself, but then people trust you, and so it took a lot of like trusting myself and stuff like that. So
That's huge. Foundational.
right, but but it's like a realization, you know. But it's good to know that there's other people that start off somewhere, you know. They always have their origins, and I think it's important to know their story, and that's why these, you know, the creatives. It's like a really good platform for people to tell their stories, and I think you're doing great work, by the way. We need people, like, you need the team. You know, Albuquerque needs this, so awesome.
We're so grateful to be here.
Yeah.
It's so fun. No complaints.
No, none at all. And I love getting to have these conversations and kind of like what this show has genuinely become, and getting to meet people. And recently found out we're getting close to actually like our 1-year anniversary, which, also doing the math, you are as well. So how has it been for like this first year with Sinoir Media? Because you said you had started it last May, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been a journey. I'm like learning so much new information and applying it immediately or as fast as I can. As there's an idea, if there's someone's doing something a certain way, I'm just like, let me try that, you know. So it's definitely trial and error and failing forward. Even if the idea or the plan doesn't work, you know, at least you can understand and you say, oh, I learned from this. This doesn't work. Let's try something else, or maybe you can spin it and put your own spin on it. So it's definitely been a journey, and I love learning, and I think that's kind of how taking this whole journey is like I'm learning to learn again. And that's, I think, the biggest thing. And I never thought I would own a company. But yeah, and I definitely meet a lot of great creative people that are similar on the same, you know, pathway to like just success or whatever success they measure that at. So yeah, so I feel pretty damn good.
Damn right, as you should. Yes. Something that just keeps echoing in my mind, you know, in how you speak and, you know, what you're sharing, there's so much resiliency that you've built, and a lot of growth that you've worked hard to move through. And so I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit more on the value of taking a step back and building that sense of self-trust and taking time to learn, to get excited about learning, to get excited about creating again.
That's a great question. I'll try to answer it by saying that you know, when you're coming like out of a dark time, and you might be making good money and thinking that you have it all, or that this is it, maybe this is the path, but then you're like, subconscious is calling you, and you're like, what's subconscious? And then you're just like, someone has to explain it to you. So it was all these self-help gurus out there, I mean, they're doing God's work, you know, they're really trying to help people, and and just looking at life differently, kind of stopping and smelling the flowers, especially during COVID. Maybe I got a whiff of that during COVID, but I immediately went back to work not too long after. But I was like, you know, I know it was a terrible time, but at the same time, if you're like, wow, I can live life the way I want to. It's like there's you are in full control of your own life. I think it becomes more of a reality, and I don't know. There's something about that makes you want to live life to the fullest, and it doesn't matter if you fail. And there's just like, all these gurus have great quotes, but like not being afraid to fail in public, you know, just take that risk, you know, there's really nothing you can lose. So I guess that's how I can answer that question. Speak about it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing.
Yes.
I love that.
Like,
no, so I'm trying to think of how to even describe this, because I don't know why my brain went onto this tangent. But bouncing off your question as well as bouncing off your story, the thing that popped into my head, which was actually a conversation I had with my own therapist, getting personal, y'all,
yes.
that I think can also be explained by, here comes my love for music, J. Cole's new album, The Fall Off. There's a song called I Love Her Again, which the entire concept is about him falling in love with this girl when he was young, and how as he's growing, he's like chasing her and chasing her and chasing her, and then finally like gets with her and realizes that all the things that she's saying to him, she's actually saying to all of these other guys and all of this stuff. And then he like cusses her out and like tells her she's trash, and then she's like, you're saying that I'm trash, but I used to be like the main thing on your mind, and then all of this other stuff came to where I became your side piece. And it's actually a really good song, but the main thing of it is you need to listen to it in the mindset that he's not actually talking about a girl. He's talking about his relationship with hip-hop, his entire life growing up. And so like when you listen to it from that avenue, and that's why it samples the song, God, I forget which Common song it is, but I never knew a love like this is like what Common is saying. And it also samples the idea from Common's I Used to Love Her, which was also like Common, which for those who don't know, Common is a rapper from like the 90s. I'm a young old head. I don't know how to describe it.
Yes.
Where he talks about his relationship and falling out of love with hip hop. And I remember, which brings me to my therapy session where I was sitting, because I had a similar moment where the breakup happened with me and film because of the slowdown and everything, and I had to pivot. And it was right around the time I actually got offered the creatives, but I was sitting with my therapist, maybe crying, allegedly. And I described my relationship with film to that point as it felt like I was in a relationship with somebody who, when she was there, everything was great. Like, she'd shower me with affection, gifts, all of this stuff. And then out of nowhere, I'd like pick up my phone and she'd be gone. And just gone for months with like no texts, no nothing, and you're just getting ghosted. And so it becomes that whirlwind of like, okay, I just got ghosted. It becomes the crash. You like start to kind of pick yourself back up, and then she comes knocking on your door again. And you're like, hey, what's up? And it was honestly that moment where I realized how I needed to pivot and kind of doing more stuff like the creatives are doing, a lot of the indie projects that I'm doing. Which brings me to my question, which is something that I had to think about. But with this new endeavor and how you're dealing with Sinoir Media, do you feel like it's a brand new relationship, or is it the old relationship coming back but now in a healthier sense, and how it feels for you? Does it feel like something brand new, or does it feel like the like old comfort and like you're feeling all those feelings again, but they feel much healthier now?
I'll answer that by saying in 2023. So I think about 2022, I kind of got out of locations, and it was like that's it for me. I'm not answering the phone anymore. Not that they're calling me, but
You're like, no, I'm really not.
no, now
Yeah.
it's definitely over. But no, I just said like if they do, I'm saying no. So 2023 comes, I go back to the film festival where I started volunteering, and that's kind of how I got the itch for film in general, going to film school. But so going back, I was surrounded by the energy of young filmmakers, and I hadn't felt that energy in such a long time. So I would answer that question by saying it's revitalizing something that maybe I abandoned for the whole different side of the industry that I was actually looking for. I was like, oh, I don't want to do freelance. I don't want to do this. But now I'm like, I became a freelance photographer, videographer. But I was like, but I did locations. So I think producing is my calling, you know. You know, so that's where I'm just like, yeah. So the energy felt really good. And then I was able to shoot a short film in Mexico through this collective, which I'd love to talk to you more about. But, you know, because they saw me at the festival. I was like, yeah, I'm at the festival for, like, after 8 years gone, you know. And so they're like, yeah, you should come and we just submit a project and we'll help you produce it, shoestring, just pay your way over here. And I shot a short film and I hadn't done it since film school. So it was just, the energy really was like, okay, what's the next? What can I do next?
Yeah, fan the flames.
Exactly. So I just, you know, fortunate enough, I took on a mentor in Santa Fe. He's just he was doing freelance way back in 2012, so he was just passing on the knowledge. I don't think he realizes that, but I learned a lot from him, even though we kind of have a, you know, rocky relationships because mentors, that happens. But I think it's always good. My cousin was a mentor for me when I was first volunteering for his festival, and then I think you even at certain ages you need mentors and then you pay it forward by mentoring somebody else, which is why I'm like trying to figure out the internship part, you know, with the schools, high school and CNM and even UNM. So so that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, oh, this is how you're supposed to help people, you know. I mean, I can't stop what's going on in the world, but I feel like I can help within the community that surrounds me.
Yeah.
And that's where the impact is felt the most.
Yes.
On an individual level, absolutely. Well, I'm curious. You said you wanted to speak more about this filmmaking experience in Mexico. Yes? Would you like to share more?
It's called the Sin Colectivo in Guanajuato, Leon. It's they have it's like a ran by a group of people, filmmakers out there. You know, they're out there too. You know, I had a friend that I met in Santa Fe University of Art and Design because they did this big, massive initiative to get all people from all around the world during that time, and you know, and they were trying to get me to go to film school, and they submit a screenplay and we'll get you a partial scholarship. Did that, but I met Andrea, who was there, happened to be in Santa Fe, so it's like kind of fate almost, you know, and then. You know, we kind of kept each other in touch here and there with, you know, social media, and then I'm going through this whole journey in the film industry, and then you know, I get a call. Hey, what are you doing? You want to come to? I'm part of this group. You want to come? I was like, what is it? Yeah, and then so of course started the wheels. Yeah. Passport. I was like, well, if I'm gonna go, I gotta get my passport. You know, it's like. Yep. It's so easy to do these things, but it's change is very hard.
It's intimidating. Yeah.
Right. Anything that you've been doing, like I was like, oh, I can do whatever I want, right, within the, you know, morality. But you know what I mean? Yeah. But you could do whatever you want. I mean, and stop, go a different route to work. Just that's the first thing you could do and I started literally doing that. If I wanted to change, I started going a different way to work. And it's just like, oh, I don't have to do the same monotonous things, stepping on the same steps over and over every day. Yeah. But, so passport, got that, locked it down in less than 3 months. I was like, oh, this is happening.
Wow.
Okay, I got to finish the screenplay so I can submit it and get all the, you know, fill out the forms. you know, and I was like, what am I gonna do? They're giving me this platform to do it. I gave them the craziest idea. They're like, Ryan, how are you gonna pull this off? And they speak only Spanish. You know, there's 1, 2, maybe 3 people that speak pretty good Spanish. You know, and they accepted me. I fly to Guanajuato Leon, first time out of the country, and I'm like, there's a world outside of where I was living. And it's just like, it's unreal.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
like there's another part of the world I never been.
It becomes real, right?
Yeah.
It's different seeing it on a screen or thinking about it. It's another thing when you're there and you're like, especially you're so used to one version of reality and suddenly you're immersed in another one.
Yeah.
It's surreal. Yeah.
And on that, it's just like, yeah. So I met my friend. I hadn't seen her in 8 years, but it was just kind of, they were tired, right, when I first got there. So you know, they're planning a you know, basically a festival. So they're tired, but I'm trying to speak language. I got a Duolingo, try to do it for a few months.
Duolingo grind.
and still, you know, I still didn't understand. I mean, I definitely learned Spanish for sure. More than ever, right? People would try to like, if they were having conversations, oh, Ryan's there, you gotta speak in English, you know, and just like, nah, I'll try to understand, you know. So, but I would say, so if you have a project, you have to help other people, either acting or crew or something. So you kind of have to find, you need to start congregating and networking, right? There's a networking events and stuff like that. So getting ready for the first film, you know, I didn't have a DP yet, but they had to find that, and they got it last second when it was my turn. I produced, wrote, and directed it, but I had my friend who knew English, so she was getting me around. And I had a crazy concept. So the film was called My Girlfriend is a Terrorist, or Why I Stopped Worrying and Love AI. So it was just about this guy who lives in virtual reality. And his girlfriend wants them to get out of virtual reality, and she might be a terrorist. I don't know. We don't know that.
Oh, to be continued.
Yeah. So on the day that we're shooting, I had made these friends. It was funny. A lot of them just did not speak English well, and I just met the DP. So he just got, you know, the script and the storyboard and the shot list, so there was one shot where it's like, hey, I need him to do this because we need to do this, you know, type of stuff. And so he's like, Ryan, I don't understand what you're saying. You know, I'm like, how can I explain this? Some, you know, Google Translate, you know, just like here.
Yeah, like, what,
you know, here.
does this work?
Yeah. But overall, we got it done. And I was so under pressure because I hadn't, like, people are asking me, like, tons and tons of questions.
Yeah.
It's like, this is different from, like, being in the locations department. It's like, they're asking you creative ideas. I was like, oh, my God, I want her hair color blue, you know. Because it was like, what do you call it? What's that style? It'll come to me. The neo-noir.
Yeah, like the neo-noir
Cyberpunk.
Yes.
So it was just like, but they were so creative out there. They, our team, they went out and like, hey, is this what you want? And I was like, yeah, I want this, this, and this. So it's just, you know, they do the same thing out there. They just do it in Spanish, you know.
Yeah.
So great experience overall. Great experience. If you just want to get out of the country, excuse to go make a short film or help or go DP, whatever you want to do, I'd say Sin Colectivo. I'll give you their contact. They do it in December. They want you to stay there for 2 weeks because they do this like ritualistic, I don't know, it's like on a Kwanzaa hunt where they go to the sweat lodges. So they do this ritual. They're very spiritual people too. So, but now I made a really good group of network and friends out there. They're really awesome. Guanajuato Leon was a fun town. It was like, it's kind of old architecture, very film town. Like it just has that character, with our old architecture, smelled heavy of exhaust, but you know. And then they were celebrating there. It was a spiritual time. It was a very holistic time, but they partied so much.
Yeah.
I was like, they would stay up drinking till like 4, and they get up at 9. I'm like, how do you get down? How do you do it? I'm like trying to catch up with you guys, you know.
What a beautiful experience!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I highly recommend it, or just if you've never traveled before, you got to do it.
Absolutely.
But it opens up like that kind of like, ooh, what's the next thing can I do? I set these goals and I did it, and it's like and it's for me. It's all it's a little selfish, but at the same time, it's also the part of the network, and it's like I did it for me. And they're like, my parents are like, "What are you doing? Are you gonna get back into the?" And I was like, "No, I'm going to Mexico. I'm having a good time.
Having the best experience of my life.
Yes.
Sorry.
I can equally say that. I was one of them. I would put that on the list.
It sounds like it.
Great times.
Start to finish.
Yeah. But now it quiets down and you get back to the reality of it. But it's a roller coaster. So being in film and maybe being in the creative side of things, and maybe that's I feel like that's my calling, you know. So I'm just like, no, I am a filmmaker. It's like keep telling yourself that. You know, those positive affirmations.
It's good. It works.
Yeah.
It does.
But,
Take it till you make it.
But therapy helped a lot.
It always does.
Yeah.
Shout out to my therapist.
As we're starting to round out and everything, kind of a twofer, what is coming up next? And as well, where can people find and follow everything that you're doing?
Well, we are into post-production for a music video through the network that people that I met in the last few months. Her name is Oslin, aka Jade Gomez. She hired my company to do her music video, and we're in post-production. We lost an editor, but we found one in New York.
Nice.
Albuquerque needs more editors, by the way. I'm not trying to, but it's true. But either way, we are in post-production. It's 2016 vibe, kind of. The song's called 2016, and that's like the trend now. Is 2016? It's coming back.
Which hurts my soul, but it's okay. Shout out to that creative, but generally.
Yeah, it was a part of her life that she really wanted to talk.
That's cool.
Yeah. And you can reach me at Sinoir Media. I say Sinoir just without the accent. It's Sinoir, Sinoir Media. Instagram, that's where we're kind of posting about that. And Oslind, I think it's at Oslind, Ozzlynd. She's the music artist. And anything on the next horizon, I also do a social show called Paul in the Streets, highlighting the culture of New Mexico, going to the streets, showing up at events, random events, uninvited, sometimes.
Yeah.
Like get out of here, but we're trying to be more formal and professional, and creating a production workflow where we can like, hey, can we show up to your event? Please don't kick us out.
Nice.
Thank you. We're just happy to be here. Great way to get exposure.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm doing, and any projects that come our way, network, always collab. Yeah.
Great. Sick.
Love it.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Do you want to ask the final question, or shall I?
If it was, it's your question. It's your go-to, man.
I'm just going to let you. It was your turn.
Okay.
But
rounding out a little bit completely, if you had to say it in a bullet point, a couple sentences, what advice would you give to people who are trying to break into the industry, young people who are, just beginning their creative journey? What advice would you give?
I think I might have mentioned it, or I said a reiteration of it. Don't be afraid to fail is the biggest one I could say. And if you have this idea, you have this inclination, it doesn't matter if you, don't, do it as a career or something, but just try anything really to see what sticks. But so that you could take those risks and not, you feel that kind of like, I got to be in front of people, or I got to, be a leader, or put yourself in those positions so that it'll be easier to feel that kind of pressure that, do. I think there's an actor that said it's like do the cringe things. I think I would steal from do those cringe things, because I'm doing those now. And if I had just kind of stepped up, and I did, right, but not like full force. So.
It's different.
And you can't lose if you don't quit.
I like it.
Yeah,
Snaps.
I love it.
Yep.
Ryan, thank you so much for being on the episode with us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Simone, thank you for always being on the episodes and killing it. You did great with that last question, by the way.
Thank you. I learned from the best. And thank you, Tevin, for being so great as always.
I just try to keep up. And thank you guys for tuning into another episode of the Creatives Podcast. Once again, you can find us on YouTube. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Please especially be sure to like. YouTube has apparently changed their algorithms to where likes are that much more important to get our videos out there, so that way more people can see all of the amazing people we bring on here, and we can get more people on as well, which also I didn't mention in the last episode, but if you want to be part of the Creatives Podcast, please email at us at onethecreatives@gmail.com. And you can also check us out on RM Entertainment, RME Free TV, which you can get on your Apple TV, Roku TV, and smartphone devices. You can also check us out with Catharsis Media on Channel 96 and Studio 519, Channel 27. Thanks, Studio 519, as well, for always letting us film here and dealing with us. Thanks, Catharsis Media, for all that they do for the community and helping us out. Thank you to our amazing sponsors. Thank you to our amazing producer, DanGil.
Thanks, Daniel.
And thank you guys, and please have a great night.
Thank you, guys.